And then what?
Yeah. Do it again.
And then you do it again. Why does that happen?
I don't know.
Why can't we stop ourselves from doing things that we know to be bad?
Sin.
It's not just sin, but it's because we're in bondage. And Romans 6 also talks about how we're slaves to sin. Slaves to sin. So we're in bondage to sin, we're slaves to sin in such a way that sometimes we can't not do sinful things. We just end up doing it all like, I did it again. I got angry again. I punched my brother again. I can't stop myself. I punched my brother. I wasn't talking about you.
Seriously?
You
You punched your brother?
Yes, I hit my brother. It's bad. It's not good. Anybody have an example? Maybe that you just want to share, be kind of vulnerable? Some way that sometimes you feel enslaved to sin, in bondage, and you can't break out?
It's hard for me at work because people gossip about each other a lot. They talk behind each other's backs, and I always try and stay out of it, but it's everywhere. Sometimes I get caught up in it, and then I get angry with myself for doing that. I'm like, I'm never going to do that again. And then it's just the culture. It's like all around, and it's really hard to not do it.
So gossiping or maybe saying bad things about other people because everyone's doing it and everybody knows that they're a jerk anyways, so why not just say it also? Right? Everybody doing that before? Oh, so-and-so is such a... No, it's just Annie. Annie's the only one that's ever done that. No, I don't believe that for a second. Right, so these are another examples of how we can get broken. Just, this handle is now falling off and it's laying on the ground. Totally useless. So we're in bondage. Alright, so I have 3 B's that I want us to think about. I'm going to write them in red because they're so serious. Okay? So we've been talking about the different kinds of sin. And so I want us to have 3 categories of sin. So there's broken, they're all B's. So you can write these down on your pieces of paper. And you can write it, I forgot you're supposed to, if you wanted to write these pictures of things being broken and being useless. Broken things. So broken relationships. Sin. Sin causes broken relationships between brothers and sisters, between fathers and sons, and mothers and sons and daughters and parents and children. There's broken relationships. Does anybody, in your mind, can you think of one major broken relationship that you're sad about in your mind? All right, everybody think. We all have broken relationships, and this is because of sin. We all experience bondage to sinful habits. Lying, cheating, stealing, gossiping, punching. There's a zillion of them, right? I can't list them all. These are things that we do. We feel that we're in bondage to these sinful habits. Now, can that mug, once it's broken, can it fix itself? Can it glue itself together?
Yes.
No. Yeah, it can't. It's in
Yeah,
bond.
you can. It'll just take a lot of
It
super
can't
glue.
glue. It can't glue itself.
Oh.
Yeah. It's in bondage to its brokenness. It's now broken into bondage. Now here's the last one, and this is, I want to start with these two because these are the ones that we usually forget. This last one, you'll be like, yeah, that's what I always think of. It's a B, although it's not the perfect B letter. It's a, we'll say blame-worthy. We're blameworthy before God. God is a holy and righteous God who can't be near sin. And so if we're sinful, we're broken in our relationship. We're separated from God. And usually when we think about sin, we think about conversion. This is the one we think of. God is holy and righteous and we're separated from Him because of our sin. And that's true. And the cross of Christ deals with our sin that separates us from God, but we also need to remember that there is slavery to sin in our lives that God also delivers us from, and there's brokenness in our relationships that God can fix. So, can you write those down? Do you have a second to write these down? Why don't you write these down on your papers, Soren? Why don't you write those down? You don't have to do the whole thing. You can just do brokenness, bondage, and blameworthy. Or you can do the whole thing. So take a minute and write those down if you haven't.